Welcome everybody back to Boost Emotion, guys, and we got some updates for you guys. This video is gonna be: should you get a Nissan Z or a Toyota Supra? Guys, let's go. We finally got some evidence. We got some dyno results. Guys, you already know what to do. Let's hit that intro. Welcome everybody back to Boost Emotion, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you. Welcome everybody back. Welcome everybody back to the channel. First thing, shout out to all my Boost Emotion family. I already know you guys hit that like button. Much appreciative. I really thank you guys for always showing your support. And if you're new to the Boost Emotion channel, I am Boost Emotion. You know, I am in this VR30, Q50, Q60 community. I've tuned both of them. Well, I personally didn't tune them, but I have modified two of them, and I know a lot about the VR30 community. Plus, any subscriber or follower of this channel knows a lot too. So if you definitely want to know a lot about the new Nissan Z and their power plant, this is the channel that you want to know everything about. So definitely subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all so you don't miss no new videos. But anyways, this video, we're going to do screen share two different things. First thing, shout out to AMS Performance. They're one of the top companies that literally spearheaded the VR30 community. They know VR30s like the back of their hand. And now that they have their new Nissan Z, if you guys haven't seen any of those videos, you can go on my channel and definitely check it out. But they've tuned from Supras and made aftermarket parts to, guess what, Z's, and they have already been in the VR30 community forever. So this company knows both of them, and they're gonna tell you their own testimony. But also, we're gonna just see a quick update. If you haven't seen the last video, about a week ago, they have gotten a Nissan Z. They tuned it on 100 octane 100 octane and did some pulls with it, and the car did quite well with just pretty much race gas. Excuse me, guys, and to regular mods. Now they added E85 and a couple of other components to the car, and we're gonna talk about their new horsepower that they reached. So let's do a quick screen share. Bear with me, guys. So the first screen share is going to be some of the parts that they've added. So they've added now. Bear with me, guys. For anyone who's watching, they've added now currently at the moment AMS intakes, heat exchanger, full exhaust with downturns, VR30 intercoolers, flex fuel kit, RA405 high pressure fuel pump, low pressure fuel pump, inline fuel filter, fuel sensor, and a stage 2 VR30 injectors. Now, for anyone who's new to the community who don't nothing about this, these parts have been out forever. They just probably just testing out their Q50, Q60 parts on there, and just to see if there's any corrections they need to make based on maybe placement or tabs or anything like that. So we've been around the community for quite a while. So they've tuned the car in full on E85, and they reach 525 wheel horsepower for anyone who's watching. Shout out to AMS Performance for always doing their due diligence. Let me see if there's a quick dyno graph here. And here is their quick dyno graphs if anybody wants to take a quick look at it. And to be quite honest with y'all, anyone who's new here, you're probably looking at this like, wow, these cars are making so much potential. We know these cars been making this since 2017. So Q50, Q60 guys been doing this for like 5-6 years now. You guys are new to this. This is old to us. We're just trying to see if there's anything more powerful, or maybe Nissan put some special sauce in the new Nissan Z that we really haven't seen. And to be quite honest with y'all, from what I've been seeing, not really. I'm being quite honest with y'all. Seeing this dyno graph, I'm like, yes, it's great. I still love it. 525 wheel horsepower. Torque is really high, especially for the 9-speed. So we got to see how good this 9-speed transmission really takes it, especially if the 9-speed doesn't really have a transmission tune yet. So I'm still excited about what the 9-speed automatic may do, but I'm still sitting there like, 525. It is typical for the VR30 to do over 500 wheel horsepower on full E85 and the modifications that they've have done on this car. So I'm sorry, it's just not that much more exciting. What I would add is this: for anyone that's watching, that's part of the Boost in Motion family, that's been part of the VR30 community, right? What you would notice is this: that peak wheel horsepower and up to redline isn't as low as it is on the Q50s, Q60s. And what I mean by that, what I realized with the Q50, Q60s on full E, you'll get to peak wheel horsepower, but it usually will drop off a lot more as you go to the higher end. This case, it hits 525, and it seemed like it peaked off right around 475, about a 50 wheel horsepower drop from where is it right now? From 5,000 to like 65 to close to the red line. That's a drop, but I've seen in other people's dyno graphs where a Q50 might make 510 wheel horsepower, and it might drop to like 415, 420. It'll be such a large drop off. But usually it's like 60 to 70 horsepower drop off. Torque is always going to go down because that's just the way they designed it, the way they guys they tune this car. It's just what it is. The efficiency of the turbo has literally got to their max, and it's like, all right, let's start pulling that timing back because it is what it is. So nothing really surprising here. But now let's get to the part that you guys really care about. We're going to compare the Q50. Sorry, it is basic Q50 VR30, but we compare the Nissan Z's VR30 versus the B58 Supra. Now, one of their representatives, Ty Curtin, made a quick response because everyone on the Q50 Q60 platform, and the Nissan Z platform, and anyone who's watching from the Supras and like, okay, what's so good about these Z's? Let's check it out, right? They're literally saying, wow, everything could be done for so much more cheaper on the B58. So here's a response from an AMS representative. So, as Ty Curtin says, as much as I hate the constant comparison online between the two platforms, this was really interesting dyno plot I wanted to put out there, showing just how similar a 6-port Supra and a Z's power band are, specifically when they on stock turbos. What is really surprising is seeing the horsepower and the torque align nearly identical as factory turbos for both cars run out of steam in the upper RPM range, right? The red line is going to be AMS's full bolt-on E85 car, and 20 and the Supra was a turbo back exhaust with a E50 tune. The Z obviously has more modifications than this particular Supra from our down archive, sorry. But I'd be willing to bet we could add a few more parts on the Supra and take a few more parts off the Z and still be very similar in output. Our R&D Z is utilizing parts that are not required to make this level of horsepower. This is for who's anyone who's watching that's been in this platform, like, you don't really need this part. You don't really need this part. Thank you, Ty. Shout out to AMS Performance for being honest. Yo, AMS do their thing, but I'm liking that they kept some honesty here. I'm gonna say for anyone who's watching, he said it himself. He said, sorry guys. Our R&D Z is utilizing parts that are not required to make this level of horsepower, as we are prepping the car for considerable more power in the coming days. So what they're doing is the car has prerequisite parts. They are literally getting their treasure chest together because where they're going next, they're going to be using these parts. So they rather install it now than later. My honest opinion, being an owner of neither car, is that if simply adding a few bolt-on parts is your goal, either platform will be a great choice to make good power with. You're not likely to be able to tell 5, 10, or even 20 horsepower difference on a butt dyno. And he's being completely honest, true. Shout out to Ty Curtin for actually tapping in and saying that. Now, here's the dyno graph for anyone who's watching who wants to really know and take a better look, right? Take a look. They're very similar. Literally, stock turbo. They're very freaking similar. This is AMS, one of the top companies out here tuning it. So for anyone who got to go back and forth, super this, super that, I'm gonna say it like this because I did make a video comparing the 340 and 440 B58s versus the Q60 and Q50 VR30s, and I did a price breakdown, versus your horsepower goal. And if you guys want to check in the video, hopefully I put it up there. If not, go on my channel. It's Q50 versus like 340. Which one's the best bang for your buck or something like that, right? And I went down every part. And I said, if you want to emit 400, 500, 600 wheel horsepower, these are the parts you can get at the minimum for power, and this is what you're going to spend. And what we found out was the B58s, you spend less money, almost half the price, to get to a certain amount of wheel horsepower. That's it. How much money is it going to cost you to get to your specific horsepower goals? We're not talking about driving experience. We're not talking about which car is cheaper, which one has an overcharge. Which one's going to get you to 500 wheel horsepower, 600 wheels horsepower, 1,000 wheels horsepower? Which one will be better and or more cost efficient? And the B58 was more affordable, up to the point of about 700 wheel horsepower. That's when you're going to start getting 600 to 700 wheels, but we start getting into built motor, built trans, somewhere plus that. But we realized that even to get to 600 wheel horsepower on a VR30, now you're spending a lot more money on upgrading turbos and stuff like that because it's more expensive, especially with labor charges, which I didn't even include. So nonetheless, the cars are very similar. They have very similar powers, very similar torque bands. This is from AMS. You can't go wrong with the car. And as people kept on asking me, which one's going to kill which? Honestly, AMS is showing us just on power for dyno queens right now, just on the dyno alone, these cars very comparable. They're very similar. The only difference is with the Nissan Z, you will be spending a bit more money to put certain parts on and or to add more cooling efficiency parts, which what I will in this video, I'm going to quickly say it for some of the people because I'm not going to make a separate video for saying it right now. What are some of the parts that you can skip so that you can still get to your house horsepower goal? You can skip AMS intakes. If you guys watched the Racebox, shout out to Hussein Racebox. He said you can skip intakes if you want for this platform. A lot of other tuners have stated it. I'm not saying AMS has you said you can skip intakes, but other tuners stated you can skip intakes. Number two, you can skip. You don't need downturns. They have downturns. That's pretty much an open downpipe with the YPIPE. You could just have a regular CATBACK exhaust of your choosing, but pretty much a CATBACK. You can skip VR30 air-to-water intercoolers. You don't have to get those coolers. Majority of the fastest Q50 Q60s were on stock air-to-water intercoolers. It's just now that they're really upgrading. So you do not need air-to-water intercoolers. All right. You still need a flex fuel kit, high pressure fuel pump. They went with a larger bore high pressure fuel pump. You could have actually went with the smaller one, but a lot of tuners have stated it's rather just makes sense to go bigger just because it stabilizes the fuel pressure a lot better. But you can still do the smaller one, upgrade one. Low pressure fuel pump. This is the one that goes in the tank. Inline fuel filter, we definitely recommend that. And a flex a fuel pressure sensor. This is the one that goes on a fuel rail. It is still recommended, but some tuners have said you could skip it, just go with another OEM. Some people said go with AMS. That one's still up in there. And lastly, stage 2 VR30 injectors. Once again, you can do it on OEM injectors. You do not have to get it. So a lot of less stuff could be purchased here, and you can still get very similar results without having to spend this extra money. But AMS, they're selling their parts. And I'm never going to be mad at them for doing that, But nonetheless, guys, just want to shout out AMS in this video, and I just wanted to talk about it because you guys are going back and forth about it, and honestly, it was just getting too much. It was getting too much. You guys don't know. I get the Supra owners; they got the Supra. It is what it is. Like, wow, this is so much more expensive. I'm glad I left, and I get it. But for the people coming into the Z platform, yes, there are some things that you can get, but there's some things that you can skip. Sorry, it is what it is. But outside of guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for banging with your boy Boost. If this video was informative, hit the like button. If you don't like this video, hit the like button. And if you think that if I'm wrong, definitely comment below. Outside of that, you have a good day. I appreciate it. You definitely could add me at boostinmotion IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise, tonight, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also, on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.